Hey guys, Lore Master here, and welcome back to another Minecraft modding tutorial video for 1.12. In this episode, we're going to be making food or edible items, and we're going to also add some cool effects so that when you eat them, they do some cool things to your character. This episode should be pretty simple. It's a lot simpler than the origin stuff that we've been doing earlier, so it should be pretty easy to follow along, and we can just get right into it. So I'm on our main class right here. What we're going to want to do is come over to our our init package. We can drop that down and come over to mod items.java, double click that, and this is where, if you remember, all of our items, our armor, our tools, all that stuff is stored here. We're gonna make a new little comment, I guess you want to call it. You can put it anywhere, but I'm gonna put it at the bottom just for organization, and I'm gonna call this / food, just like we have the other sections. And below here we'll make our first food object, so public static final item, and in all capitals, this specific food item I'm gonna call evil apple. I want to make pretty much an apple, but when you eat it you get kind of like a poison effect, so evil _ apple, and you'll be able to add a lot of different effects, so don't worry about that. We'll go over them in a second, but this is going to equal a new food base. And we haven't made this class yet, this food base class, but we will in a second, so hold off on that error, but some parentheses and a semicolon at the end. And so this is done. We just need to make this class here, this food base class, very similar to how we're making an item in the previous episode. So come over to items and make a new, right click new package, and add a dot at the end of items, dot food, finish. And inside of this package you can right click, create a new class, and we're going to call this exactly what we put here, food base. So food base is the name, finish. And inside of here, if we actually double click item base, it's going to look pretty much identical to this item base, except it's going to have a few different nuances specific to food. So first thing we want to do in food base is make sure that the class extends item food. So extends item food from the Minecraft Forge library or whatever it's called, and we're also going to make sure it implements IHasModel, which is our interface that we defined earlier, and we can import both of these. So hover over and import item food and import IHasModel, and you can we'll do this in a second, so don't do anything with that. But as long as we have both those imported, then we're fine. And I'm gonna bring this down also for clarity. And inside of here we need to make a constructor, so public food base, and inside of here we're gonna have a string name, int amount. I'll go over these in a second, but just type them for now. Int amount, float saturation, and boolean. I'm gonna call this is animal food, I think. Yeah, I think it's is wolf food, but I'm just gonna do is animal food because I don't care. It's cooler. Bring this down, this bracket, and so okay. First of all, we need to make sure we super inherit all of these. So type super inside of here, parentheses, and amount. Sorry, not amount. Yeah, actually, we're not inheriting name. We're just inheriting amount, saturation, and is animal food. Okay, I think that's correct. If we add a semicolon at the end, yeah, I can go over these. So we're going to be setting these in our mod items class over here, inside of here, for the object. But pretty much this is going to be the name of our food object. This is going to be the amount of food, hunger bars, I think that's what you call it, like the little drumstick bars that you fill up when you eat one. Saturation is a special value that determines how long you stay like not hungry. It's hard to explain if you don't already understand saturation, but whenever you eat food, there's a period of time where you don't get hungry again and you don't lose bars. That's called saturation, so we can set that. And also whether or not it's food for wolves or just for us. So like a bone is animal food, but it's not human food, so that's pretty much that is. And we also have to set all these things that we put in mod items down here. Oh, not mod items, I mean item base. This stuff right here, we can just copy and paste it, or you can type it yourself if you want. Set and localize name with name, set registry name, and I think this is pretty much it. We just need to add unimplemented methods. You can hover over food base and click this, and to get our register models, and we can pretty much copy all of this, I think, yeah, from item base. Control C, bring this down for clarity, and I'll just copy and paste this in. There we go, to make sure that we're registering our models. We can save all of that, and this should be our food base class pretty much completely done, I believe. Oh, we also need to set, what is it? Sorry, I'm just trying to remember. Item base. Set creative tab, there we go. Set creative tab, parentheses, and it's creative tabs dots, and we want food. So this will show up in the food category. We'll make our own custom creative tabs in a bit, but for now we just want that. And I think if we save, that should be, yeah, pretty much all of it. Oh, we also have to add it to our mod items. So mod items dot items, and I believe it's dot add, yeah, dot add. And we're just gonna add this. So semicolon at the end. And yeah, that should be our whole food base class done. So now that we have that done, we can actually like see and eat our item in game. We're gonna get a little bit more complicated in a second, but I'm gonna just make sure the item is working in our game. So come back over to mod items. You can exit out of food base and item base. And inside of mod items, go back to your food object that you made. And in food base, we need to pretty much fulfill the thing. Well, first we have to import it. So hover over and import from our mod. But also we need to fill in the parameters. So first we want our name. So ours is evil underscore apple. Then we want a comma after that. And this is gonna be the amount. So the amount is a little tricky. Pretty much whatever amount you enter in, if you have it, that's how many hunger bars it'll fill up. So for example, if I were to set 8 as the amount, then if I were to eat an evil apple, I would heal back 4 hunger bars, or 4 of the drumsticks. So anything you're putting in here, take half of that value pretty much, and that's how many hunger bars it'll fill up. If you want to do halves, then you can do odd numbers. So like if I were to enter in 1, this would heal 1/2 of a drumstick bar. So I want this to heal 2 hunger bars, so I'm gonna put in 4 because half of 4 is 2. So hopefully that's making sense. And a comma, and then our saturation value. For those of you who are confused, I already kind of explained it, but I have a really great website here on the Minecraft wiki. I'll link it in the description, but it pretty much gives all the food point values and saturation values for all the food items in game, so you can kind of have a reference. So you can see these are the saturation values. I want mine to be pretty similar to an apple, so 2.4 is their saturation restored. So I'm gonna put 2.4F. Make sure to put that F because it's a float value. And then a comma, and we need to decide if it's a wolf food or not. This will not be food for wolves, so, or any animal, so we're just gonna put no. Sorry, not no. I forgot Java syntax for a second. False is what we want to put because it's a boolean. And we can save. And that's our food object pretty much completely done. We need to add the, what is it called? The model and the texture. So let's go do that. We can go over to source main resources, assets.tutorial mod, models, item, and you know, we have all our stuff here, our obsidian ingot and all that. We can right click, new, untitled text file. We can open up Ruby is a good one. Any item, copy and paste that. They're pretty much exactly the same because it's an item. It doesn't matter that it's a food item, it's just a regular item. So you can copy and paste that from any item you've already made. I will also have this in the description as a paste bin so that you can really quickly get it if you've never made an item. Hopefully you have, but if you're not, it'll be in the description. But yeah, we can copy and paste that in here, and make sure to change the name from Ruby to whatever you're doing. So mine is evil underscore apple, and we can save that as evil underscore apple .json and save that in tutorial mod, source, main, resources, assets, your mod ID, models, and item. Press OK. And if we exit out of this and open it back up, evil underscore apple, there we go, should be working. We can close out of this. So you can see it's right here in our item package for models, and that should be good. And then we need to make sure that the texture is in there too. So come back to your desktop, and right here I have our evil apple. You can kind of see it, it's like a purple apple. It looks kind of like a poisoned one. So we can open up our Minecraft modding folder, tutorial mod, source, main, resources, assets, your mod ID, textures, items, and you can drop it in there. Make sure, oh, I almost made this mistake. Come back to your thing, you can see here that I have it set as evil underscore apple for pretty much all the parameters, even mod items, like right here, right here. Make sure that your texture always represents that. So evil underscore apple, otherwise it won't work. It never does. I don't know why. Forge is annoying like that, but yeah, make sure that that's the exact same name, and we can come back in here, and if we run the game, it should be in there, so let's go check right now. Oh, I almost forgot one more step that we have to do. If we come over to, before we launch the game, come over to lang, en_us.lang, we need to name our item, so we can make a new section here called food/food, and it's an item dot evil underscore apple dot name, and this is going to equal evil apple. We can save that, and now we can run the game, and it should work pretty well, so I'll see you in the game. Okay, so we're inside of the game, and we have our evil apple right here in our inventory. The texture's a little weird because I made it poorly in Photoshop, but we do have it, and it should heal 2 of the drumsticks exactly. So you can see right now I have 2.5 of them empty, and if I eat it, we should have 1/2 remaining. So it worked perfectly. We had 2 of our drumsticks filled, and we're now regaining hearts. So the food thing is working perfectly, but now we're gonna go back into Eclipse and add some cool effects to it. So if you just wanna make plain food, you can stop now, but this is for if you wanna make advanced food. Alright, so back in Eclipse, what we're going to do to make our special item have some cool effects is we're going to make a subclass of food base. That way you can create a regular food item or a special one depending on what you need for your mod interchangeably. So first we're going to come over to our items food package right here with food base in it. Right click, new class. And we're going to call this food effect base. You can finish there. And what we're going to do first is make sure that it extends. So public class food effect base extends food base. And this is that class, I'll go check it out right now, that we made earlier, which creates our food item in the game. We're essentially telling Java that the food effect base class is a subclass or inherits everything from food base. So we're pretty much making a food item but adding some extra steps to it that is not in food base. So just so you kind of understand what's going on. And we can push this down here. We're gonna make a constructor. So inside of these brackets, we're gonna make public food effects base parentheses. And inside here, we're gonna have a couple new and a couple of the same parameters that we saw here. So string name, int amount, and I will go over these again in a sec because they're a little bit different now. Float saturation, boolean is animal food. Sorry, is animal food. And a new one, we have potion effect. And you can add some brackets at the bottom. And there's gonna be some errors here. We're gonna fix that in a second. We need a super inherit. So super, and then in parentheses, name, amount, saturation, and is animal food. If you're not sure what super is, and you don't know Java syntax, super is essentially a method that you call to inherit certain attributes or variables. So we're pretty much inheriting these attributes from the food base class. So that's what's going on. But below this, we're also gonna have set always edible. Now you might be wondering, oh sorry, set always edible, parentheses and a semicolon. Now you might be wondering, what does this do? This is essentially just saying that the food item will always be edible regardless of if you're hungry or not, and that's because it has a special effect. So you want your players to be able to still get the effect even if they're not hungry, especially for testing purposes, but you can always get rid of this if you want. This is just what most mods use because usually you should be able to get the effect even if you're not hungry. So I would keep this unless you really don't want it, but you can play around with it. And we're gonna have to import potion effects, so hover over that, import. And we're gonna have to, above this constructor, make a few lines, create a new potion effect object called potion effect semicolon. And we're gonna make sure that below this set always edible, we make sure that this dot effect is equal to effect. So we're setting, sorry, semicolon. And we're setting this effect equal to this one. That's what this is saying right here. And this is pretty much our constructor done. So we can go change later on our evil apple right here in mod items, but we will do that in a second. I want to finish this class first. So save all, and inside of here, yeah, should have no errors. There we go. Inside of here, we need to make a few methods. So first method, we're gonna Sorry, don't mind my phone there, just buzzed. So we're gonna add override, and below this, we're gonna call this protected can't spell today. Protected void on food eaten. Parentheses, and inside here, item stack, item stack, world in, that's a capital I and in, comma, and entity player. And you can add some brackets below this. So anything that we put in here is going to happen as soon as the food object is eaten. That's why it's called on food eaten, and we're overriding it because it's inherited. And you can hover over item stack and import, hover over world and import, and hover over entity player and import. Here we go. And so first thing, before we add our potion effect, because I want my, just to be clear, I want my evil apple to give you a poison effect if you eat it, because I want it to be kind of like a poisoned apple. So first we need to make sure that the world is not remote, because there can be syncing issues. If it's okay if you don't understand what that means, but just follow along. So if parentheses, make sure you put an exclamation mark here, very important, world in dot is remote. Sorry, dot is remote. So if you don't know, a exclamation mark is an opposite symbol essentially. So we're saying if the world is not remote, then some brackets. Then in that case, we want the player dot add potion effects. So we're adding a potion effect to the player. You can get rid of that. And inside of here, we're gonna have to add a lot of stuff. So, well, not a lot of stuff, just one object. So new potion effects, parentheses. And first we put effect.getPotion. You can double click that, comma, effect.getDuration. And don't worry, I will be going over all these in a second. Comma, effect.getAmplifier, comma, effect.getAmbient, sorry, comma, and effect.doesShowParticles. And you can save there. So this is going to be a long string, and it's okay if you don't know Java syntax, but we're pretty much going to be making a potion effect inside of here for our object, and it's going to be syncing up with the effect that we add here. Kind of hard to explain if you don't understand Java, but it all works out in the end. So I'll explain these in a second, but our class here is almost done. We need to make one more method for the client. So at side only, in parentheses, side.client, all capitals, and add some brackets. Bring this bracket down, and inside here we want to make sure that, oh sorry, this is just the annotation, I'm stupid. We need to have a method below the annotation. I was confused because of the parentheses. So public boolean has effect, parentheses, item stack. This is just checking that the item stack has the effect, and make sure to import side only as well. And inside here, we're just going to return true. Make sure that it knows that it has the effect. And I believe if we save all, that should be this whole class done, the food effect base class. So now we can go modify the stuff in mod items. So let's go over to mod items. And this is the object down here, evil apple, that we have to modify. So for right now, I'm going to put two slashes in front of this so we have it so that you can see it. But we're going to be changing this up. So just copy and paste this below. Essentially what you're going to do is have two options when making food. You can make it a food base or a food effect base, which is what we're going to do now. That way you can make a regular food item or a special food item. So in this case, we want this evil apple to have an effect, so it's going to be a food effect base. And we're going to keep all, make sure to import as well. And we're going to keep all of the attributes here, but we're going to add one more after false. So comma after false, and we're going to put new potion effects. And in parentheses, we're going to add a couple of things. So first up, we want the potion effect. So mob effects dot, and you'll see here after mob effects dot, you should get a ton popping up. These are all the different potions in the game. So, you know, they're right there for you. So I want poison in this case. So I'm going to choose poison, but you can choose any of these. They all work. So poison, see there in all capitals, comma. And then we need the amplifier. Sorry, the duration is first. So the duration is kind of weird in this. I believe it's in milliseconds. So if you want 1 minute of your effect, you would do 60 times 20. So just do that in parentheses, and you can kind of do whatever you want to this. So maybe you can 2 times this if you want 2 minutes. You can divide this by 2 if you want to have it, but 60 times 20 is 1 minute worth of duration. And I'm not really sure why that is. It might be because it's in milliseconds, but I've tested it out and that seems to be the only one that turns into 1 minute. So yeah, we're gonna go for that for 1 minute duration. Then we need the amplifier. So if you've ever played, well, hopefully you've played Minecraft, if you're modding, you know that the potions have different ranks. So there's like swiftness 1, swiftness 2, 3. In this case, I want poison 2, I think. So it starts at 0. 0 is the first level and it keeps going up. So if we do 1, it should make a potion of 2 strength. So sorry, I hope this is making sense. So essentially what we're saying here is we want to increase the strength by 1. So if I were to run this code, it would give me a poison effect of poison 2 from the game. If I were to do this, it would give me a poison effect of poison 3 and so on. 0 is a poison effect of 1, so like a regular base poison potion. But I want poison 2, so I'm gonna put 1, comma. Then we need is ambient. So this is pretty much deciding whether or not it's from a beacon. So just put false. You're not going to use that unless you're making a weird beacon, what is it called? Potion effect. So anyway, just put false there. And comma, last one is whether or not you want to show the particles when you have the effect. I do, I want those green swirly particles. So I'm going to put true. And we can save. And that should be good. Oh, and make sure to add a extra parenthesis at the end. And I believe we have to import potion effects as well. So import, save, and that is our evil apple class done. So what we're saying here is that when you eat the evil apple, the object, you're getting a poison effect. It's going to last for 1 minute. It's going to have a strength of 2, remember, because it's -1. So it's going to have a strength of 2. It is not a beacon effect, and it is going to show the particles. So make sure to remember all those. And if you ever want to make a new food item, you can just copy and paste a food base item or a food effect base, depending on your needs, and go from there. So let's go run the game and make sure that our new item is working correctly. Alright, so we're back inside of the game, and I have our evil apple object right here. And because it's set to is always edible, we should be able to eat it even though we have no hunger. So let's just test it out right now. We can eat it. And we did get a poison effect, as you can see. And it is poison 2, so that is working perfectly. And it is for 1 minute. So all of our stuff is working absolutely perfectly. And, you know, we'll just let our poison run its course. But that's awesome. So we know that it's working, and we can go back to Eclipse. So that is it for food and effects. If you need any help with your code, be sure to check out the Discord or the GitHub link in the description, and I'm sure someone will be happy to help you out. But other than that, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.